Hey everybody. So today I want to do just a really short video and brief introduction on this machine behind me. It is a Cornely FBN machine, and it is a universal feed lock stitch sewing machine. So it does a lock stitch like a regular sewing machine, and I'm using just regular household sewing thread. It comes down from the top and in the bobbin, and it can do sequins, it can attach sequins, and it can attach yarn. So the shirt I'm actually wearing, I made on this machine. The reason I'm in love with this machine is that it can go on t-shirts and it doesn't make holes in the fabric. The chain stitch machine, because it uses a single thread and a hook for a needle, doesn't really go that great on a t-shirt material because the hook on the chain stitch machine can catch and make holes in your t-shirt fabric. But this machine, it uses a pointed needle with an eye that's threaded, and it catches a second thread from the bottom like a regular sewing machine, so it tends to not make holes in your t-shirts. So I'm wearing a shirt I made on this. I went around with the green like 3 times, and I want to show you I am using, this is a regular household yarn. In this spool, I have 3D printed these spools on my 3D printer with PTEG, and using a 3-inch piece of 1/2-inch PEX water pipe in between, which I just pound in with a hammer. It's a press fit. So this spool goes up on top and it feeds the yarn down. This is just regular craft store yarn that I've put on my t-shirt. And then in the bottom, it uses a bobbin. This is the, hopefully you can see that. Just uses a regular bobbin in the bottom and a needle to make the stitches. So some of the things you can do, this is a shirt done using sequins, and you can see that, hopefully it will focus, it sews the sequins on, and it catches the thread in the back. I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but let me see here. There's a thread in the back of the sequins, which it catches down and sews, and then that way the top of the sequins looks pretty much seamless. So that's a shirt I did with sequins. And then this shirt I did is another t-shirt. This is one single piece of yarn that I've sewn on. It's pretty cool, and I'll just turn it inside out real quick so you can see what the inside looks like. When I'm doing my projects, I print out my design on water-soluble paper, and then I just sew through the top, and I'm not using any stabilizer on the inside. This is what the inside of the t-shirt looks like. It is just stitched, and then when I come to the end of my yarn, I tie a knot. So just giving another example, this is another t-shirt that I did, and it has been, sorry, it's a little wrinkled, it's been through the washer and dryer. Basically, so I use different kinds of yarn. And then if you can see that, I went around, 3 or 4 times to get a thick line so it stands out. To me, this looks like a neon, and I bought neon colored yarn, and it's just really, really cool. And I'll show you what the inside of this t-shirt looks like as well. I'm just loving doing it on the t-shirts. So this one, I went around, 3 or 4 times. I had to stop and start a lot. So everywhere I stopped and started, I have to tie a knot. And the craft store yarn, it's like a 4-ply yarn. So I just take, I take this really big needle that I got at the craft store, and I split the yarn into 2 different sections with 2 pieces each. And I put the top thread with one side, and I just put it in that needle, and I feed it through to the back. And then I grab the bobbin thread and I just tie a knot with the yarn. A lot of stopping and starting. But this makes for a great t-shirt because there's no stabilizer on the inside, and it's just you and your t-shirt and your yarn. And I've been having a lot of fun with this. Made quite a few t-shirts for me that I will be wearing. But that is the Cornely FBN machine. And then next I'm going to give you, in this video, I'm going to give you a little demonstration of it sewing, and then I'm going to just kind of talk through some of the parts of the machine. This functions very similar to a chain stitch machine, but it is not a chain stitch machine. It's a lock stitch machine, and I don't know if I'm going to put tutorials for this on my YouTube because there are so few of this machine around, and I don't believe there's any replica machines being made. So one would have to find an original Cornely machine to use, and I think there are not that many, but they're a lot of fun. So I just wanted to kind of show you this. If you happen to run across, you know, one in the wild, I would say definitely grab it. This one, when I got it at an auction, and it was missing quite a few parts, and I had to take it apart and put a lot of parts on and get it back together and figure out how to make it work. But I'm loving it because I'm liking the t-shirt, and now when I go to work, I've got fun shirts to wear. Okay, so thanks for watching, and stand by for the demo and a little bit of talk about close-up of the parts. Thank you. So this is a Cornely FBN machine. It is a lock stitch universal feed machine. So it has the handle under the table, which controls the direction of stitching, but it's different in the fact that it uses a needle and there's a bobbin. So it sort of sews just like a regular lock stitch sewing machine, except it goes in all directions. And the top thread is mounted here, and it feeds down a tube. This machine is an FBN. It has the capability to use 2 needles, but I'm only using 1 right now. And then you feed your yarn from the top, and it goes down into a special foot, and the foot is sized just for the yarn. So the yarn goes through the foot, and the needle catches the edge of the yarn and sews it down as I go. So I'm doing this pattern here that I've printed out on water-soluble paper, and I have blue tape holding it down so the t-shirt doesn't shift when I'm going around the pattern. This is just an 8.5 by 11 piece of water-soluble paper, and I'm going to go around the edge 3 times. So I'm going to go 2 times around side by side, and then 1 time directly down the middle. I will put you in the machine and I will show you it sewing. But if you see, if I rotate the handle under the table, you can see that this whole front part and everything on the top rotates at the same time, so I can go around the curves. So hang on, I'll put you in the holder and you can watch it making some stitches. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep going around the edge here for a little while, and you can just see how it goes along, and it makes 1 stitch at a time and catches the yarn at the same time. And I'm guiding the direction of the stitching with the handle under the table. And I have my t-shirt turned inside out right now, and I'm just going along. It's actually exactly the same sort of thing as steering on a chain stitch machine, just that it's a lock stitch. So now I have to stop and move my t-shirt. Oops, knock my needle down. I need to stop and move my t-shirt a little bit so I can keep going around the edge. Let me zoom you in a little bit here so you can see a little more what it's doing. I haven't had this for very long. When I got this machine, it had some broken parts, and I had to switch out some parts. And I've been using it for, I don't know, a couple weeks now, trying to get the hang of it and learn how to make this thing work. I'm really enjoying the t-shirts. I'm gonna stop here. I'll come back around on the second pass and show you. Okay, so now I'm coming back around for my second pass, and I'm just trying to line up right next to my first pass of yarn. And it's not always perfect, and if I look away, it's going to be like a little off. But then I'm going to come back and I'm going to fill the gap in the middle with my third pass of yarn. So this is pretty simple. There are other kinds of nipples that you can get where you can do flat tape, you can do thicker cording, you can do other stuff. and you can attach whatever you're feeding down from the top by catching an edge, or you can catch the middle. There's, I think, like literally hundreds of different kinds of nipples available. This machine will also do sequins, where it grabs the, I don't know the name of the thing, there's a cord on the bag that holds the sequins together, and this will feed the sequins down, and the needle will pick up just the back of the sequins. So when you look at the front of the sequins, you only see the tape of the sequins holding the sequins together. It's pretty cool. Sequins are a little more difficult, and they're also much more expensive. Right now I am using a $3 t-shirt from Michael's and regular craft store yarn, which I've also got from Michael's as well. And so it's a relatively reasonably priced t-shirt that I'm working on. Okay, so that's how it works. I'm gonna stop, and I'll come back when I finish the shirt and show you what I do for the edge, or for the end, sorry, for the end. So this is a Cornely FBN machine, and I'm just going to show you a little bit about it real quick. Basically, it has, there's a handle under the table that controls the direction of feeding of the fabric. And I'm bringing my light down here. I get down here real quick. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts down here. I'm not going to go into it at the moment, but the handle rotates a bunch of stuff, and then the belt and the hand wheel rotate the top shaft. And what this stuff down here is doing is in here, this is rotating a bobbin on the top that forms the lock stitch. Basically, now, so right now I'm rotating the hand wheel up top. So this is rotating the hand wheel. That's rotating the bobbin. That's what this thing over here is doing. And then this controls the direction of stitching. So the bobbin and the needle and everything rotates simultaneously with your feeding. Now let me come back up on top and I'll show you just a little bit about this. It's quite a complicated machine, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. So when you rotate the handle under the table, that's controlling your direction of stitching. This raises and lowers your foot. And then the feeding, oh, sorry, I have a piece of paper on here to keep the oil off. Feeding is similar to a chain stitch machine where there's a nose. You can see the nose is back there. Sorry, trying to move my light around so y'all can see. The nose is back here, okay? It's not on the front shaft, but it does control the feeding of the foot, and it rotates in the same direction as the hand wheel. And this is a Cornely, so it has the external springs. And then basically down here, I'll put the foot down and show you. Put the foot down. So let me get a pointer here. So this is the nipple, this thing that's on the outside, and that goes up and down. And then the needle, you can see the needle is actually inside of here, and it's got my thread in it. I have pink thread in it right now, and that goes up and down, and the foot moves, and then the nipple comes back up. So this nipple that I have on it now, it has a hole on this side. You can see the hole right here in the nipple. The yarn goes in there and it comes out the other side. That's basically how this works. And that is a needle with an eye. You can see there's an eye in the needle right there. And that's where the thread goes through. And then it just sews a lock stitch. So the needle goes down through the nipple. So put the foot down. makes a lock stitch, fabric moves, and it comes back up. And basically everything rotates. And there's a bobbin, so I'm gonna open this up. So you pull this down and it snaps into place. And you can see there's a bobbin right there. And when I go to make a stitch, that's the hook. You can see the hook is right over here, just like a regular sewing machine. The hook goes around, it catches the thread from the needle. So you can see the pink thread from the needle's caught, and that goes around and it makes a stitch. Now, the bobbin is rotating every time it makes a stitch, okay, see that? But when I rotate the handle under the table, the entire thing rotates also. So I can get, you know, my stitching going in the right direction. And that's basically how this works. The bobbin and needle setup and everything is very, very similar to a Singer 29-4 patcher. And then the pink thread, it comes, there's a, sorry, the light's in the way. This is a needle bar tube. There's 2 small tubes on each side because I can use double needle and 2 threads, but I'm only using 1 right now. And it comes out the top and it goes up to the top, and there's my spool of thread. And that right there, going up and down now, that is my take-up lever. Like the lever on a regular sewing machine. That's what this thing is doing right here. And then my thread feeds down from the top. And that's how that goes. And then on the tippy top is my spool of yarn. And I haven't threaded this one yet, but you take the end of your yarn and it goes down through here, pops out here, goes in here, comes on down, comes out the side right here and into your nipple. That is sort of basically how this machine works in a nutshell. Like I mentioned, it's a fairly complicated machine. I do not really recommend this as a beginner machine because when you put the needle in, you're basically having to kind of time the machine every time you want to change your needle. And if a person doesn't really understand like a basic sewing machine, how to time a regular lock stitch machine, this is going to be a lot more challenging because there's rotating and moving parts. This one was missing the front cover, so my husband did the design of the front cover in 3D modeling software, and I printed this out on my 3D printer with my logo chain stitch embroidery. So that actually worked really well. I was very happy with that. But basically that's how this machine works. Handle under the table, rotates all that stuff up there. And it sews a very nice lock stitch. So this is the thing that I was working on. I've gone around 3 times, and you can see that's my thick outline. I'm going to do the smiley face in black next. Okay, thanks for watching.